Okay, so last session we learned about how to deal with classes in object-oriented programming. We learned about what is a class and its members. That means what are properties, methods, and accessors, how to use them. Next, one more important in class members, we have constructor. We need to know about constructor. Actually, what is constructor? What is its purpose and all? Constructor, it is a special type of method. It is a special type of method in class. It is a special type of method in class which is used for instantiation. It is a special type of method in class which is used for instantiation. Instantiation means creating of objects. Instantiation is creating of objects. Actually, in more technical terms, what we do is we call it as constructor is a subroutine that executes automatically. Constructor is a subroutine that executes automatically for every object. It's a subroutine that executes automatically for every object. Actually, it initializes memory. It initializes memory to store values at the time of allocating memory for class. It initializes at the time of allocating memory for class. It initializes memory to store values at the time of allocating memory for class. These all we will see practically. Then you can understand the meaning of these three sentences. So generally, what is the role of constructor in a class? The role of constructor is to initialize memory so that some actions can be performed automatically. For example, see, suppose we are working with some database. We are working with some database. So we are working with some database. And we have an application. This application have to do some interactions on database. We have objects like insert, like update, like delete. That means when I click insert, this insert should happen. But in order to insert, first I have to connect with the database. After connecting, then insert can happen. While updating also, when I click update, first it should connect, then update. Without connecting with the database, you cannot do this. So connection is the task which need to be performed automatically. So generally, any task you defined is performed only when you request it. That means you return one method. When that method will execute? When we call the method. Methods usually execute when we call them. But constructor is a special type of method that executes automatically. That means, see here. Now I will write here a simple logic, head and title, constructor. In the body, we have insert button. So that is button insert. We have button delete, like this. Now here we are configuring a script. In that we have a class. The class is database class. This database class, it is a class. Database class is having insert method. This insert method is doing document.write. So record inserted. And there is a delete method. So document.write record deleted. Like message we are displaying. Now what happens is, so we have to write on click. On click is equal to insert click. On insert click, we want this function to execute. So what we do is, here we will write a function insert click. On insert click, we need to create an object for that class. That means let. You can use anything, let, var or anything, right? So because yesterday somebody was very much worried why I am using let. So message they sent online, some online people. So you know what is difference between let, var and const. At this level, you should not ask what is difference between let and var. Already we learned that for one day and came to this topic, right? So you know, I'm just using let to make it block scope variable. You know anything, right? You can use anything. So we defined let and an object db is equal to new database, and through the db we can access which method? Insert. Now actually I am configuring this as a global variable, suppose database, and we are defining just insert. Similarly, you have another function. So we have another function that is delete click. On delete click, db dot delete, database should delete. So on click, we are defining on click. So delete click, this function should fire up. Now usually this is the basic design, and in this, when I click on delete, so it says record deleted. When I click on insert, record inserted. But before inserting, deleting, you must connect. Currently I am showing only message, but in reality, if you are really connecting with database and working with the database, you cannot insert or update or delete without connecting. So connection with the database is first mandatory. After that, you can do these operations. So in that case, now if you write a method in the class called connect, then obviously if I write a method called connect, so connect is the method. This connect method will put an alert saying that connected to database. Okay. And this should fire up before you insert or delete. Then you see, is it firing up? Because it is ordinary method. Ordinary method means you have to call every time. Call every time. That means before insert click, you have to call db dot what? Connect. Before delete click, we have to call db dot connect. Understood? You have to call every time. And now I click delete. It says connected to database. After that, delete. If I say insert, then connected to database, then it will do that insert. That means this task need to be performed every time. If the task need to be performed every time and you are giving that as a normal method, then you have to call it every time. If I am not calling this method, that means it's not doing that operation here. Then what I will do is I will give this work to a constructor. I will give this work to constructor. Declaring constructors is little bit different in JavaScript when compared to other languages. Generally in other programming languages, constructor name is given as class name. So here, no. Here constructor is anonymous and it is defined with the keyword constructor. Constructor don't have a name. We have to just define the constructor with the keyword constructor. That's it. And it is anonymous. It is anonymous. And very important is, now I given this work to constructor. When I given this work to constructor, see here now what happens is connected to database. When it is connected to database, automatically when it is allocating memory for class, when it is allocating memory for class, not on insert click, not on insert click, it is allocating memory for the class here itself, na? Right? It is allocating memory for the class globally. Before you click insert or delete, it's connected. After connecting, you can do these operations, insert or delete. When I click delete, so it is deleted. But it is not showing alert because alert already happened. When it is happened, already connection happened. When it is happened, when class is loaded. Now you can just do your operations. Already it is connected. Every time you don't need to connect. If you want every time connect, then what you have to do? You have to create an object every time. Understood? You have to create an object every time. You have to create an object every time. Then what happens when I click delete connected to database, then delete it. So when I click on insert connected to database, then inserted. Now here the point is, this is not great. Why? Because you are allocating memory for class every time. So that's not required. You allocate only once. At the time of loading the page, it will connect. Then you can do all your operations. You can do all the other operations. That means it's connected. Then you can do all the operations. So you can keep this connection. See, I will do one thing. I will keep this connection in a secured way like this. I will keep this, and here I will write as not alert. I will put console log, console.log. Okay. Now see what happens is, here I will inspect, and you see in the console, in the console, once I refresh the page, reload the page, when I reload the page connected to database, that means in the backend, database is connected. You don't need to show that connected. In the backend, we will connect it. Now we can do insert or we can do delete, right? The connection is ready. That means every time if you want to connect, you can write in every button. No, at the time of loading that form, we want to connect, then we do all operations, then you can give the work to the constructors. What is the specialty of constructor? It will automatically perform that tasks. It will automatically perform the task. You don't need to call it. When memory is allocated for the class, it will automatically do it. So a constructor, that is why it is called a subroutine. That means usually routines means, in software architectural terms, routine means a method which does the tasks regularly. A routine, that means generally methods are called as subroutines. So it is a subroutine which will execute automatically for every object. Currently, how many objects we created? How many objects we created? Only one. That means it will execute how many times? Only once. Once per object. Every time it will execute. And after it executes, you can do other operations on that. Generally, people give a simple other definition for this. Where at learning level, people tell that, means general, when they learn several technologies, will tell that constructor is used for initializing values, right? It's not about initializing value, it is about initializing memory. In that memory, not only values are initialized, so much other works are done. So better not to say initialize value, better to say initialize memory. That means before your work starts, you want something to get ready, then you give that work to constructor. Before your work starts, you want some actions to get ready, then you give that work to constructor. That is simple point. That means before I start my work, something to be readily set to me, then I will give that work to constructor. Constructor will take care about that. So because it is automatically loaded when the class is allocated with memory. Allocated with memory. And very important here, in JavaScript, constructor is anonymous. Anonymous means without name. So class name is used for constructor implicitly. You don't need to define, it will be used for constructor implicitly. It is defined by using constructor keyword. It is defined by using constructor keyword. So here, one more point. Every class have a default constructor. Every class have a default constructor. Internally, every class have a constructor. So you can configure explicit constructor to define explicit actions. You can configure explicitly constructor to define explicit actions. So you can configure explicitly constructor to define explicit actions. to define explicit actions. Right. That is the points about constructor. So now if anybody asks like what is the role of default constructor and explicit constructor? Default constructor role is instantiation. It is responsible for creating an object. And explicit constructor means you are writing a constructor. So what is advantage of explicit constructor? To give some additional actions. So already it have the ability of instantiation. In addition to that, we are giving some more work to constructor. So here, that is the reason you observe here. Now, generally, when I return a class, actually this is enough. We don't need to use parenthesis. Without parenthesis also, it will work, no problem. You see, connected, delete working. Now, why here? You see why parenthesis is used. You see, this is constructor. Internally, constructor is called. Constructor is what type of function? Constructor is anonymous. Anonymous functions. How to call anonymous function? Already in functions we learned. How do we call anonymous functions? Anonymous functions are called with empty parenthesis. That means beside the class name, this empty parenthesis is referring to whom? Constructor. That is constructor. That means why you are writing like this? What is the meaning of this? Because class is not a function, na? Then why you are writing an parenthesis beside it? So it's very simple. This is the class name. And in that class, there is an anonymous method. We call that using parenthesis. And is it necessary? Not necessary until or unless the method, the anonymous function is expecting parameters. That means this is it necessary? It's not necessary until or unless this constructor is expecting parameters. Suppose this constructor is expecting some parameter. You see here, I'm not writing, it's working fine, no problem. Delete, insert, it is working fine, no problem. So then when you need that parenthesis, that is needed when a constructor is expecting parameters. DB name means database name. And here we are defining, so connected to. So connected to which database? So we will provide that DB name. Now, very important is, now constructed is expecting parameter. Is it mandatory to pass parameter? Yes. In JavaScript, there are no optional parameters. In JavaScript, there are no optional parameters. If a method is expecting parameter, 100% you have to pass. You have to pass in the same order how it is expecting. That is, there is no other chance. There is no chance of ignoring parameter. If a method is expecting parameter, you have to pass. That is only the choice. So here constructor is expecting parameter and you are not passing it. Then obviously what it will do? It will say undefined. Undefined. So when to pass the parameter? Again, the wrong answer is, generally this is very common question for people who learned OOPS. When if parameter constructor is parameterized, when the values are passed into constructor, that is the question asked. If constructor is parameterized, when the values are passed into constructor, general answer that generally students say that at the time of creating object. Wrong. not at the time of creating object, at the time of allocating memory. Not at the time of creating object. It is at the time of allocating memory for class. When you are allocating memory for class, so here we are allocating memory for class. Here your constructor is expecting parameter. So now we have to pass the value into it. So that is anonymous method. If anonymous method is expecting parameter, you have to pass into it. So that means you have to pass the value, some oracle, something like this. Now it says connected to oracle. So writing parenthesis beside class name, what does that indicates? It indicates that you are calling the constructor. Do I need to call constructor? No need. That's the reason without that parenthesis also it works. But when to write it? If constructor is expecting parameters, then you have to write it. If not expecting parameters, no need to write this. That means, what does this means? That means syntactically here, you see, a constructor, first I will give syntax here, first syntax. So class name, and in that we have a constructor. Now here we are creating let. Here we are creating an object. Let obj is equal to new class name. That's it. That's enough. Now you can also write like this. Let obj is equal to new class name parenthesis. This empty parenthesis is referring to constructor. Referring to constructor. Here also constructor referred. Here also constructor referred, but it is implicitly. Implicitly means internally. So here the question is parenthesis mandatory beside class name? Beside class name? Answer is no. It is required only when constructor is parameterized. Only when constructor is parameterized. It is required only when constructor is parameterized. Only when constructor is parameterized, it is required. Only when constructor is parameterized. Here, some more rules are there for constructor. Some more basic rules are there. I will tell you that here. See, first I will give you this example. Let's post this example here. Yeah. That is only when parameters are required, you need to do this. This is fine. Now, here some limitations, means some important basic things you should know is here JavaScript class cannot overload constructor. In other programming languages it is supported, but in JavaScript you can't have. And JavaScript class JavaScript class cannot have private constructor. Private constructor. There is no chance. Other languages will have. That means other OOP languages will have a private constructor. So JavaScript class cannot have static constructor. Static constructor. You cannot have static constructor. You cannot have private constructor. You cannot overload constructor. That is the reason it is not a OOP language. It supports only some features of OOPs, but it is not a complete OOP language because so many things are not supported. So it cannot overload constructor, which can be done in OOP languages. It cannot have a private constructor, which is possible in OOP languages. What is overloading, private, static, not required here because it's not possible here. Those you will learn later. Means if you are learning any OOP based TypeScript, you will learn about that. As of now, the point here is JavaScript don't have all this, so no need to think about that. So only these basic things you have to know for constructor. That means you cannot overload the constructor. That means here we have a class. You cannot define another constructor which can have a comma b and you can define something else into it. Console.log some a plus b. You cannot have such things. That is generally possible, but see, a class may have only one constructor. That is clear. In other programming languages, it is possible. We can have constructor overloads. It's not possible here. It's not possible to have that. And there is no private, no static constructors like things available in JavaScript. Not possible, which are very important for OOP languages. It's not there in JavaScript. But one rule is same. Here the rule that you will learn in the next level also. The rule is a derived class constructor must have super call. This is very big point. You will see that now. For that, you need to understand one technique, one concept. Then you will understand this line. Because it is rule of constructor, I am writing in constructor concept, but it is related to next concept we are going to learn. So a derived class constructor must have super call. That is rule in every programming language. But in other programming languages, it will internally manage. In JavaScript, it's not internally managed. That is the problem. That's the reason you must explicitly do this. For example, see, the point is, suppose we have, so class 1, and this class 1 have a constructor. Class 1 have a constructor. We have class 1 constructor. Now we have class 2. Actually, now this class 2 also have a constructor. This also having a constructor. Now, as of now, both classes are independent. Both classes are independent. There is no problem. There is no relation between these two classes. Two are separate classes. Every class can have its own constructors. But later, we can define relation between these two classes. That means this class 2 can extend class 1. I will tell you what is extending. I will discuss about that. That means now we have a relation between two classes. When you define relation between two classes, now we create an object. So let object for second class. For second class. When we create an object for second class, now this second class is extending first class. That means it is extending one class. That means one class have a constructor. This is having a constructor. What happens is in other programming languages, actually this constructor, the first class constructor will automatically called inside this constructor. Automatically. That means if you create an object for derived class, it will call the constructor of base class internally, automatically. That means remember, in relationship, first class constructor must execute after the second class constructor will execute. That means as per OOP rules, as per object oriented programming rules, as per the OOP rules, first base constructor will execute. Then second derived constructor will execute. Derived constructor will execute. This is the rule actually. First base class constructor, then derived class constructor. It is rule. And in other programming languages, it will automatically happen. That means the first class constructor will automatically call before the second class constructor is called. So it is automatically done, no problem. In JavaScript, it will not happen. In JavaScript, this constructor will not be called internally. Automatically, it is not called. You have to manually call it. Otherwise, this class declaration will be wrong. That means as per the OOP rules, if two classes have relationship between each other, then without calling the base class constructor, derived class constructor cannot work. It is mandatory to call base class constructor first, then followed by derived. Other programming languages will do that internally, so they don't have problem. But JavaScript can't do that. So we have to manually write it. For example, see, that is rule of constructor, but it is related to a concept called inheritance. That is the reason so much topics will be like interrelated. So until you understand inheritance, you cannot understand this rule of constructor. So we will see that now. So derived class constructor must have a super call. What does that mean? That means for that you need to understand a simple note. So according to the rules of object-oriented programming, according to the rules of OOP, if classes are configured with relationship, then a derived class constructor, must call base class constructor. A derived class constructor must call base class constructor. This is OOP rule actually. And in other OOP languages, it is done implicitly. It is done implicitly. But in JavaScript, you need an explicit calling. You need an explicit calling. That is the point. So in JavaScript, you need an explicit calling. These rules, to understand these rules, you need to know one more concept, how relation is configured. Then only you can understand this point and see it practically. So first we will understand how relation is there configured. Once you know how relation is configured, this point will be clearly observed. You can see practically this. So for that, first you need to understand how do we define relationship? How do we configure the relationship? Let's see. For that, you need to know about a concept called code reusability. Code reusability. So code reusability, it is one of the key feature of object oriented programming. You can configure code reusability by using two techniques. You can configure code reusability by using two techniques. One is aggregation. Another one is inheritance. Aggregation and inheritance. Code reusability in object-oriented programming is achieved by using two techniques. One is aggregation, another one is inheritance. What is aggregation? Aggregation is nothing but it is a technique used to access. It is a technique used to access the code of one class in another, by using an instance of class. It is referred as has a relation. It is referred as has a relation. In object oriented programming, we call this as has a relation. That is aggregation. It is referred as has a relation. So how this is done? It's a simple technique actually. That means you can access the configuration like this. And I said, yeah. So I'm just giving here. that example I posted. Yeah. So here a simple example here, script. We have class. This is some base class. I am giving a name, and there is this base class have a print method. So this is having document dot write. So this is so base class print method. Okay, that is base class print method. Now we have derived class, derived, and this is print method. This is having document dot write. This is derived class print method. So here, what is, we can access the code of one class in another class by using an instance of class. That means it is referred as has a relation. Has a relation means without configuring any relation between classes. Without configuring any relation between classes, you can access the members of one class in another class. So without configuring any relation between classes, you can access the members of one class in another class. So that is what actually we call as, it is known as object to object communication. And it is referred as has a relation. Object to object communication and has a relation. We call this aggregation. That means now here, you see, let's go to the design. I will create an object, let obj is equal to new derived. I created an object for derived. To the derived, I am accessing print. That means only derived class print method will work. Only derived class print method will work. But through one object, I want to access both. Then you don't need to create another object for base. You can just access these members in derived class. But separate object we don't need to create outside, but inside you have to create. That means inside the print method, we will create an object. This object will be for which class? Base. And through that object, we can access the print method here. This is called aggregation. That means the members of one class are accessible in another class by using an object. That is general thing we do. We call this aggregation. What is advantage here? Base class, derived class, they don't have any relation. Both are independent. They don't have any relation, both are independent, but the member of base class is accessible through derived class object. Through derived class object, we created derived class object and we said print. What it will do? It will print this message, but before that, there is an object for base class and which is calling the print method. That means it will call the base class print method also, but no relation between classes. Why you don't give any relation between classes? If I give relation between classes, then the members of one class may suppress another. That means the members of one class may suppress the members of another class. That I don't want. That's the reason keep both separate, but still we want to use one in another. Then we have only one concept, that is object to object communication. Now you see, you can access both and display here base and derived. But final object is derived class object. It can access the members of base class. This is called aggregation. This is called aggregation. So that is an aggregation concept, aggregation. Now, what is another technique? Another technique is inheritance. Inheritance. Another technique is inheritance. So inheritance in this technique, a class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. You can configure relation between classes. You can configure relation between classes. So members of base class are accessible in derived class by using super keyword. They're accessible by using super keyword. So without creating instance of super class, or you say without creating instance of base class, you can access its members using super keyword. You can access its members using super keyword. So we are configuring relation between classes. Actually, inheritance is code extensibility. Inheritance is code extensibility. Code extensibility. This is important. Right. So here, we are inheritance here. How the concept works here? Simple. See, now I am removing that object here. Let's go to the design here. I am removing the base class object in derived. I am removing base class object in derived, then only derived function will work. Now, if I want the derived base class members to access in derived class, then we have to extend. It extends base class. It extends base class. That means derived class is extending base class. In that case, in derived class, if you want to access base class print method, just you have to use the keyword super dot print. That's it. You don't need to create an object. We can access the members of base class in derived class by just using the super keyword. And now you see that. So I will copy that, and you see that that's working fine. But we don't have any object created here. But we have relationship defined here. We defined relationship here. That means the derived class is related to base class. So this is referred as This is referred as is a relation, has a relation, is a relation. Has a relation means without relationship accessing the members of one class in another. Is a relation means by keeping it in relationship with another. In relationship with another, you can access the members of a class in another. So this is called is a relation. I will tell you a clear point here, more clear here. One more concept I will tell you, but here you can observe that rule. Same here. You can observe the rule now. Currently there is no problem. I will open the console. There is no problem. I will open the console. You see, in the console, we don't have any problems. Everything looks better. Good. Now, let's put a constructor in derived class. That means I will write a constructor in derived class. Now, I will put here document dot write derived class constructor derived class constructor. Okay, so you don't need to call a constructor. Automatically derived class constructor will execute. Derived class constructor will execute. Derived class constructor is executing, and you see derived class constructor is executing. That's fine. There is no issue in that. Now we will do one more work. We will use here. See, it is showing some problem. And see the problem. The rule I explained. What is the rule? Must call a super constructor in derived class. Must call a super constructor in derived class before accessing the derived constructor. Before accessing the derived constructor, you must call super constructor in derived class. It's mandatory. It's mandatory. That is the rule we learned in constructor. That means a derived class constructor must have super call. Until or unless there is no constructor, no problem. If you mentioned a constructor, you must call that. Then how to call here the super class, base class constructor in derived class? Base class, there is no constructor, na? But by default, it will have constructor. Default constructor will be there. So internally, there is a constructor. You have to call it. How the base class constructor is called in derived class constructor? So by using super keyword, just super and constructor. That's it. Now your problem is solved. That means you refresh here. Now everything fine. Now derived class constructor will execute. Then base class print method will execute. Then derived class print method will execute. Now base class also can have a constructor explicitly if you want. That means you defined a constructor, and here we put document dot write. This is base class constructor. Now what is the order? First, which one executes? As per the order and as per the rules of operating system, language, object oriented programming system. First base class constructor, then derived class constructor, then base class method, then derived class method. It's your wish. You can first run base class method, derived class here, or derived class, base class. This you can change. You can call super class print after this. It's no problem. That means now what happens? First this print will print. After that super class will print. But constructor, you can't do like that. Constructor first mandatorily, which constructor should be called first? Base class constructor. It's mandatory. But this method's your wish. You see now, you see here, first it will call the base class constructor, derived class constructor. After that, derived method, then print method, base. These methods will be changing. Constructors you can't change. Constructors always same order. That means first base class constructor, then derived class. That's the reason if derived class constructor is not calling the superclass constructor, then it cannot work. It must have a super call. Suppose if superclass constructor is expecting parameter, if it is expecting parameter, suppose I said some message msg, that means it is printing that message here, or I said username, and I want to print that username also here. I will put uname. In that case, if superclass constructor is expecting a parameter, you have to pass that parameter here. Into this, we have to pass like this. Superclass constructor is expecting parameter, you have to. Now, there is no need to ask any question like, can I have more than one parameter? Can I have object? Constructor is same like method. That means, can we have multiple parameters? Yes. Can we have array parameter? Yes. Can we have object as parameter? Yes. You can have anything as parameter, any number of parameters. You can even have rest parameters, right? That is all like method only. Only the point is when it executes, how it executes, right? Now you see here, this is working fine now. That is working fine now. So it's very important that you have to call the base class constructor before the derived class constructor. This is another example I am giving. So that is super, how to define super class constructor. Without that, it will not work. And this is actually means technically, I will tell you what is the correct concept about inheritance technically. See, suppose we are developing, suppose we have a script. So we have a class called SBI. So bank app. So version 1. SBI bank app version 1. In this version 1, they given some functionalities. That means in this version 1, so they have a name like module name. So, or I will simply put like customer module. So in that they have a customer module. That means here we have to put some message. So bank customer module for customers, that is there. And in that they have admin module. So this is bank admin module to manage customers. Like this, we have 2 modules in this first version. After few days, they have to add some new facilities to this. Then this is already being used by your application. Means you downloaded this bank application, you are using it. And later they want to add some more facilities to this. And if they want to add some more facilities to this, they can't disturb the application which you are already using. That means they will not disturb this application which you are already using. They can't ask you like, stop using for 2 days, I will give you new features. It can't happen. Then how we can provide him new features? Then what we do is we build a new version. SBI bank app, same. So this is same SBI bank app version 2. This is second version we are defining. Second version we are defining. This second version should have all the features of the previous version. In addition to that, some extra. That means it should use customer module, admin module. In addition to that, it is having some credit card module. That means it is having some credit card module. And this is for so bank credit card payments. So that's a module is defined. Credit card payments module is there, but this new version will be updated to the client device. That means what we'd say, keep idle your device for few minutes, few seconds, then we will push updates into it. We will not ask you to install. We will not ask you to install also, right? These days applications use a lot of techniques for that. We have a mechanism called web sockets. We have a mechanism called RSS, semantic elements, real simple semantic. So what is advantage of these is they will push updates automatically. You don't need to refresh. You don't need to reinstall. You just keep idle. While working, it cannot. You keep idle. That's the reason you keep your phone idle for 2-3 minutes and you are connected to internet. Then you will see some notifications. Facebook updated, WhatsApp updated. You don't need to do anything. They will push the updates. For that, they use WebSockets mechanism and others. WebSockets is there here also. Actually, you are using a live server. In this project, we are using a live server. I will show you. There is a page here. Suppose take this card page. This is card page. Here what we are doing, run. This is card page displaying some data. Actually, observe carefully when I inspect and I go to inspect and I will go to network category and I will make a request here. In the network category, we are making a request. We are making a refresh here. And you can see there is WS at the bottom. There is WS at the bottom. You can see there is WS here. This is WebSocket. That is WebSocket. Actually, what this WebSocket is doing is, that is WebSocket actually. I will click on this. You see, actually this is WebSocket. This is WebSocket. What is the purpose of this WebSocket? This is WebSocket actually. What is the purpose of this WebSocket? Nothing but what this WebSocket is going to do is, observe carefully. So this is card page. I will go to that card page and here above I am adding a heading called suppose cards in HTML. I will save that, just to save the changes, and you go back to your browser. Those changes are updated here. Am I refreshing the page? I am not refreshing the page. Actually, we have to refresh the page. Without refreshing the page, how the new details came here? Those are pushed by a separate software called sockets, web sockets. Your Facebook, your Gmail are coming with new messages, alerts. That's all web sockets. They're all web sockets. It's a very big concept to handle in the real world environment. All applications use this mechanism. It's a very general thing. So that means you subscribe to a YouTube channel and YouTube channel has uploaded a video, immediately you will get a notification. These are all so notifications and everything through WebSocket mechanism. They work with WebSockets actually. So the point is here, the concept here is without disturbing. So let's go to our concept now. without disturbing here, this is important, without disturbing an existing version, you should able to extend and this version should have features of all of them. Early features also it should have. In addition to this, new features also should be there. That means now version 2 extends, it extends SBI Bank version 1. It extends that version 1. You cannot disturb this because it is already being used. Now one more concept is there. One more concept is it mandatory to accept updates sent by application? Is it mandatory to accept updates sent by applications? Not mandatory. You can go to your app settings in mobile and you can say turn off updates. Turn off updates. Then they will not update. You have to manually update. That means sometimes I am using a very low memory mobile device, and the new features they designed require little bit high memory. I don't have. And due to that, if they have updated some new features, they are not suitable for my mobile, then I can't stop using the application. So I want old version only. I want old version only. I don't want your new version because I don't want to use your new features. I want old version only. Until or unless these new features are related to security and others, you have to compulsory update. If they are not related to security, just only functions, then it's your wish. You update or not. That means the latest version of Windows is Windows 11. You are still using Windows 8 or Windows 10. That means it's not mandatory to update to Windows 11 until or unless you know you need those features. If you don't need those features, your work is going on, you will continue with the old version. This is the reason why we have to keep the old version and design a new version with all old and new features. People can use both. Some people can use your first version. Some people can use the second version. Second version, no need to design all the old features. It will adapt them, extending them. So that means you can build, suppose you can build another version, SBI Bank. So SBI Bank version 3, this extends SBI Bank version 2. That means more features added. This is called multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. Previously, it was single inheritance. In single inheritance, one class is extended by another class. In multi-level inheritance, a derived class is extended by another class. If a derived class is again extended, then it is called multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. In this, what I am doing is, I am writing NRI module. So this is, so bank NRI module for non-Indian residents, that right? For NRIs, something like this, for NRIs. So now finally, you can create any version application you want. That means I will create here LET. Suppose I have some Windows 7 user. This Windows 7 user can create SBI Bank first version object. He can create first version object, and he can use first version object means he will have only which facilities? That means he will have only the facilities of this one, first one, right? Now a Windows 8 user, because he is having all the facilities, he can create an object for second version. For him, we can give the second version because some more better facilities are there. We can give him this version. So if it is Windows 10 user, and we can provide him all the features. all the features. That depends, right? It's not mandatory that you have to give only the latest version to everybody. You see, best example is, suppose you are using Gmail. When you are using Gmail, how to attach files in Gmail? To attach files in Gmail or Google Drive, you will have drag and drop. You can, they will show you a option, drag and drop, your mails will be attached. So suddenly your internet speed reduced, slow down, less speed, very slowly working. Then immediately Gmail server identifies that your internet speed is not good. Then it will show an alert. It says that I see your connection is slow. Do you want to switch to HTML version? It will ask that, I will not stop my Gmail. Do you want to switch to HTML version? It will ask that. So because I see that your connection is slow, you can't use our advanced features. Do you want to switch to HTML version? You say okay. If you say okay, your Gmail will be working fine. But only the point is, this time you cannot drag and drop and attach. You have to click browse button, select the file, attach the file, then finish. That means we cannot design websites only for people have high capacity. We have to develop applications that can reach very low devices also. That is where web applications will be successful, right? In our career, we have seen a lot of websites failed practically because of unable to reach low devices. Unable to reach low devices. Actually, one general example is almost in 2011. In 2011, so I was working for HP, Helvet Packard. So in that, we got a training requirement. Government of India have introduced a software for judges in courts. Now they are using it. We trained them actually. So for government, for judges in court, they introduced a software called eCourts. eCourts is a software that is designed by Infosys, and training contract is given to our HP. Our role is to train that software to judges in court. Judges are very high superior people, very high superior people, very high superior people. So that means in the north zone of Delhi zone and all, I got the training requirement. I went there. We have to go to court campus, and during the court proceedings finished, so judges will come. We have to train them. Only 2-3 people will be there, because entire zone chief judges means they will be only 2-3 number only. To them we have to train. And what happened is, when they developed application, first they designed that application eCourts in .NET technology. .NET technology was very heavy. So very heavy. .NET technology was very heavy. Good. So a lot of interactions are there, but very heavy. Very heavy. And very important is, court judge people times is very precious. Very precious. Because before we give training to judges, we are given training about court proceedings. That means they trained us to teach us the entire court environment. Means they first trained us in the court proceedings, how they will happen, what time they will do. We have seen that at high court level. We have seen that. So a judge will get 5 minutes, 10 minutes time to hear a particular case, and he will say that after 1 year come. That's it. That means in 5 minutes he will hear, and he will say that come after 1 year. Next hearing after 6 months, after 1 year, after 2 years. The 5 minutes, the 5 minutes. Now what happens is, we designed a software for them. Government has given free laptops to them. They can enter the case number, the case details will come instead of paper. they can enter. Now what happened is they entered case number and click submit button. It is rotating, rotating. 10 minutes gone. 10 minutes gone. It is still saying loading. Now the judges, we started the training actually. Now judges saw 1-2 sessions. They say that we don't want these dabbas. They say that they officially written to government of India saying that we don't want this software, roll it back. Because 5 minutes it is taking time, and his precious time, 5 minutes is very precious to judge. And a supreme like judge says that I don't want, government have to take it back, nothing else. So we cancelled training. We taken back that software and given to Infosys saying that this is not great. Then after 4 months, again training started. Now what happened this time is they removed this entire .NET technology and they designed in a lightweight PHP. It is little better, and we given training. This time they undergone the complete training, but judges says that it's very good, okay, but we don't use it. We don't use it. We don't depend on this. Why? Because if server stopped, it is not responding, then what do you say? I need to stop my court proceedings. That person is waiting for this 5 minutes for 1 year. And you say that it is not working today, server down today. Do you want me to stop my court proceedings? No, I will not do this. So you keep your software. We will do our manual work manually. That means they are using it just for decoration. They are not officially using that completely now. If they have time, they want to see some other details, they are using it. But real proceedings, again, typewriter. There will be a typewriter. On typewriter, they have to type papers, everything same as it is happening. That means the speed, if that is the problem in web applications. If you are not satisfied with the speed, lot of business will fail. That means you cannot say, we cannot make applications heavy. We have to make lightweight applications. So that is the reason you cannot give all features to person who don't have that ability. You don't have that ability. You have to give limited features. That's the reason all versions are important. So you give which version is suitable for that particular user. That is the reason we call this as extensibility. You should not replace. You should keep all old versions. Just you need to give which one is best to him, right? That means now the Windows 10 user is implementing which version? 3. That means he can access all the features. Let's see Windows 10 user. So Windows 10 user can access all the modules. That means he can access admin module, credit card module, customer module, NRI module. All are available. If this is second version, then he can access only admin, credit card, customer. NRI module is not available. So if it is the first version user, then it is available to access only admin and customer. That depends on which version object you are creating. This is called extensibility. Extensibility means without disturbing the existing versions, you need to extend the new version and provide new facilities. So do I need to create object for the last class only? No, it's your wish. You can create for first, you can create for second, you can create for third, depending on which capacity it is having, right? Now, this is called inheritance. In inheritance, 2 things you have seen. One is single inheritance. Another one is multi-level inheritance. Now, there is a concept called multiple inheritance, which is not supported. Why multiple inheritance is not supported? That reason also we will see. We'll discuss about that, how to handle and work with that. That we'll see next session. Tomorrow we will do, right? Tomorrow we will finish OOP concepts. So then we can go into very major events. We used events here and there, but now officially we will learn all the events: mouse over, mouse down, keyboard events, all type of events in JavaScript to handle various interactions, right? Currently we have seen few, like on key up we have used, on change we have used, on click we have used, but so many events are there. All together at one place we will see, right? Tomorrow will continue. Yeah.